Alright, I'm back for round number 6. Yeah, 4-1. So, facing an opponent who was on Stompy last week. This hand it's fine, it does stuff. It's not great, but I can keep it. Won't mulligan to 6. So, I started with a lot of anti-Stompy stuff, but I ended up cutting a bunch of it. So I'm somewhat afraid that my opponent is going to run me over. I found the matchup to be very skill intensive. It's favorable for me for sure, but it's definitely a huge chunk of my expected value of this game is going to come out of how good my opponent is. So I've played this matchup on both sides. I've played, let's see here, played 30 matches from the Stompy side. No, not 30. I played 21 matches from the Stompy side, and I've played 16 matches from the Boro side. And from the Stompy side, I think I'm a 51% favorite. I'm like 11-10. And from the Stompy side, I think, or from the Boro side, I think I'm a 60-something% favorite. So there's this difference of more than 10%. And that's just skill differential, which is mainly because the average Stompy player in the league is bad. And we'll find out pretty shortly whether or not this Stompy player is a good Stompy player. I mean, not necessarily. I'm going to assume they're good. But I think I have the same problem in this matchup as I did have in the Stompy mirror, which is I've been playing against bad Stompy players for so long that I don't know how to play against good Stompy players. But not a whole lot of choices to make with this hand. I just want my cards to line up well against what my opponent's doing. I don't want to enable, powerful things from my opponent. Longbow is a powerful card, and of course Sanctifiers is going to deal with it, so that's going to be great. I've got to think about how to sequence my lands because I've got a ton of them. At some point, I'd like to pay for Ash Barrens. I'd probably like to cycle both of these, and then I have a tapped land. So next turn, I'm probably going to start with Cycle Secluded Step. Yeah, I can't really punish my opponent for doing that. Also, of course, Sanctifiers could just take out the Vault Scourge. So I'm running through my head with things I'm afraid of. Afraid of Riverboa, afraid of Ledgewalker. Most things I'm not very afraid of. Most things are just not scary. Thraben Inspector, eh? Okay, yeah, I'm going to play my Thraben Inspector. And then cycle the Forgotten Cave, and then untap. And Core Sanctifier's killing probably the Longbow. I mean, maybe I just have to kill the Vault Scourge because I'm getting beaten down with it. But there are lots of games where Longbow is literally the only way my opponent can win. And the fact that they have this early means... So then maybe I don't want to play the Sanctifiers. Maybe I want to find something else I can play. Opponent only has 2 cards, so that's not bad for me. I don't want to chump. I don't want to throw away a Thraben Inspector to prevent 2 damage. That's not enough. What else do you have? Opponent has nothing. They could have, like, Hungers. That's something that would make sense. Alright, so at this point, I'm inclined to try to trade for the Nettle Sentinel. I mean, this is a problem. This is going to kill me pretty quickly. At least I have a vial, and that'll buy me a turn. I think I'm going to Sanctifiers and kill the longbow. And there's a decent chance this is wrong, but if I can't kill the Vault Scourge, I'm like, my opponent's going to have stuff. If I can't deal with stuff, then I'm in trouble anyways. Do I attack here? No, I don't attack. I don't want to throw my Inspector into... I mean, it's pretty close. If my opponent rankers the Nettle Sentinel, then I care about double blocking. Otherwise, I don't think I care one bit, either way. I'll cast Vines on the Vault Scourge, kicking it. Okay, well, they're making a statement here. Attack with just the Vault Scourge, I go down to 5. Okay, so I need to find an answer right now. That's a card. Threat Inspector. I think I want to go and get cards out of my deck. I'm going to sack the vial here. Getting vines. Alright, you got me. So clearly if I Sanctifiers targeting the Vault Scourge, like I just don't want to lose a long game when I have a core Sanctifiers. Maybe that was totally bad. Maybe. So Electricity is okay. I'm gonna bring in 1 Grudge. Standard Bear is great. Circle Protection Green is okay. Battle Sentinels is bad. Rally Peasants is bad. And I'll side out a vial. I mean, if the game had gone my way there, and I'd drawn a removal spell for the Vault Scourge, then I would just be saying, yeah, of course you Sanctifiers targeting the longbow. There's not even a choice there. I'd be so confident that it was the right play because I won. So I'm not convinced that it was the wrong play because I didn't draw what I wanted. If I knew how my opponent was going to draw, it's the wrong play, but I didn't know that. You can feel free to try to convince me otherwise. My opponent's probably going to bring in Gleeful Sabotage, Natural State, but at least they're not going to get my lands too often. I could also just side out a Battle Screech. I should probably be doing that instead. And That's because opponent predicting Battle Screech might side in Scattershot, and I don't need to add weaknesses. This hand's good because I have Standard Bearer. So keep it. I'm just going to play the Standard Bearer on turn 2. Because it will shut down things that my opponent's trying to do. Then probably Skyfish on turn 3. Pit Skulk is interesting. I mean, it dies to Gut Shot, dies to Epic Confrontation. But my opponent doesn't have either of those. It looks fine. I don't. Pit Skulk turn 1, there are only a few hands that keep Pit Skulk turn 1. One is like lots of Pit Skulks, another one is a reliance on 2-drops. Or maybe just a bad hand. I would like to draw an untapped land. Electricity is not bad. So the amount of damage I'm going to take is controlled because of the Standard Bearer. For as long as it lives. Can't get Rankered, can't get Hungered, can't get Elephant Guided. No Vines. Gleeful Sabotage, eh? That's annoying. Alright, well, my opponent didn't do much on their turn. I'd play a Radiant Fountain and Glittock. Bounce the Prophetic Prism because honestly, Gleeful Sabotage targeting Prophetic Prism indicates that they have multiple Gleeful Sabotages, and I would rather get better use out of this Prophetic Prism. I'm blocking. And I'm blocking because I get to just play another one next turn. So who cares? I'm just hoping that I draw good stuff before my opponent draws a way to kill Standard Bearer. Ooh, okay, Forgotten Cave is being played. And then return Prophetic Prism to my hand. And then I will repeat here. Actually, here I probably don't block because I get to play Skyfisher next turn. Bone Splitter, strong card. Alright, so I'm planning on playing Electricity next turn. So I do block here. Another 1-drop, 1 toughness preferably. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, oops, sorry. Let's see, so I'm gonna start with the Prophetic Prism, try to draw a card, and then I'm gonna kick Electricity. Oh, that's exactly what I was looking for. Yeah, just do it. And then start attacking. So I am on a clock, because eventually my opponent will draw their Gut Shot. Probably. I mean, it's not necessarily that they're playing Gut Shot, but they probably are. I should give my opponent the benefit of the doubt. Anyways, who knows what my opponent's on? I certainly don't. Let's get the Skyfisher again. My opponent's auto-yielded. Lightning Bolt their creature. And then bounce the fountain. Okay, so just want to kill them. Just want to get in my damage. Standard Bearer is an awesome card against Stompy. It's not unbeatable, but it's awesome. Alright. I'm going to Lightning Bolt it again. And this is just because they might have an Epic Confrontation or something. And if they have that, then they definitely want me. I'm just going to do it now while I've got this mana floating. I will sack my clue. I'll play my Prophetic Prism. Alright, Radiant Fountain, gain 2 life. I have holding up a Galvanic Blast, which maybe at some point I can activate. But my opponent's dead pretty quickly, so this hopefully shouldn't be an issue. One, two. Now it's active. One, two, three, four, five, six. I'll just pass here. There's nothing my opponent can really do that's like actually scary. I have double Galvanic Blast. I'm gonna make the attack rather than show them Galvanic Blasts. Don't want to teach them about how I play. Okay. So, yeah, leaned pretty hard on my sideboard cards. I saw a Bone Splitter, so still feel good about Ancient Grudge. Yeah, I think I just have to hope to draw Standard Bearer early again. I mean, I can trade 1 for 1, but it gets a lot harder when they've got all these 1-mana pump spells. Alright, so this hand, it has problems, most notably no Standard Bearer, but it draws lots of cards, and it has 2 rule spells, so I will keep it. Like, I get to cast Galvanic Blast on turn 1, unless my opponent plays a Young Wolf. Bolt Scourge on turn 1 is very interesting. Okay, Journey to Nowhere is an interesting one, because it does stuff, but it requires setup. I'm just going to kill their creature. I don't want to turn on their Pit Skulks. I don't want anything like that. It's fine. I'm gonna let them do stuff. I'm gonna let them hit me here, because I'm hoping to bait out a hunger in one way or another. It's my plan for the turn. Pit Skulk's fine. Carrion's also fine. Alright. No, opponent F6'd. Alright. Well, in that case, I will just play out my cards. I get to leave up Lightning Bolt, which is not bad. I'm going to leave back my Thriving Inspector so I can prevent Kyrian from attacking. I wonder what my opponent has that they have sixed. That they probably don't have vines. Like, if you have vines or hunger, you don't F6 against an opponent with red mana open. Alright, so I bite. Opponent didn't have vines or hunger last turn, so I thought they wouldn't have it this turn. I feel like I got lucky because, like, why do you even do that? It's a pretty rare thing for me to do on this side of the matchup. I'm going to... Do I want to have a cave or not? I definitely want to play the Standard Bearer. Yeah, I'm going to play the cave. Eventually I will draw a garrison and I can have it back in my hand. There's nothing I'm in desperate need of right now. I still have 2 more cards I can draw. I have the best card in my deck, and I have a good removal spell. Alright, so I think I'm pretty far ahead. Now I just need to draw some threats and a way to close the game. So, in terms of tapping my mana, I want to tap artifacts because my opponent might have natural state, and I want to tap this guy because if I draw Boros Garrison, I'm going to play the Garrison and then want to return this to my hand, so I want it to be tapped. And then in terms of colored mana doesn't matter one bit because I have Prophetic Prism, so I have all the colored mana I want. I don't think holding up Instant Seed, Lightning Bolt matters one bit because of the Standard Bearer. My opponent might have Hunger and then top deck Gut Shot. Other than that, doesn't matter. I don't think I want to play around that. I want to just play my cards efficiently because playing the Thriving Inspector means I get to double block an Estivator if it attacks. Which works out well for me unless my opponent has anything. And it works out well for me unless my opponent has basically Hunger plus Gut Shot plus something like Hunger. Alright, I'm going to cycle the Ash Barrens. I'm going to play Radiant Fountain, even though my opponent doesn't know about it, because I like gaining life. And now I just hope to draw Battle Screech or Glinthawks or Skyfishers and finish off my opponent. Nettle's fine. My opponent might attack. Yep. Attacking's fine. Like, I don't really care if they attack me with the Nettle, because Nettle isn't particularly good. My opponent can't untap it with Kyrian Ranger because of my Standard Bearer, and they also can't cast most of the spells in their deck because of Standard Bearer, which will make it difficult for Nettle Sentinel to untap. Play the red source because they know about it. I'm not casting Journey to Nowhere on Nettle Sentinel. That's just not happening. Not when I'm at 20, at least. All I need to do is draw some spells. I know I have a lot of lands left in my deck, but I think I like this configuration. Oh, not this configuration. I like this position. Even though I guess I'm actually not very deep in my deck, so my land ratio is lower than it usually is. I'm just kind of flooding. Often, by this point in the game, I've drawn like 10 cards. Because Prophetic Prism draws a card, Vial draws a card, Thriving Inspector draws a card, Glinthawk and Skyfisher draw a card. If I cycle a land, it draws a card. So I have like 21 cantrips in my deck. Okay, there's the Ancient Grudge. That's good, because my opponent might draw a Longbow, and a Longbow would get them out of it, except now it doesn't. Actually, I probably do have the Lightning Bolt Burning Tree Emissary. I should have thought of that before I passed the turn. because maybe I should have journeyed instead. I'm obviously not double blocking or jumping. Can't auto yell through my opponent's turn anymore because 30 and longbow equip would be very bad for me. Yeah, I was thinking last game I was saying they have to have exactly gut shot or rapid confrontation. Longbow does kill standard bears. Ah, okay, let's do that. I'm still not going to attack here with the Thyroid Inspector, because my opponent might have a natural state untapping the Nettle Sentinel to eat it. I'd just rather have the Thyroid Inspector. Alright, so my opponent's going to have a lot of good cards in their hand in order to do anything at this point. Also, they seem to have flooded pretty hard. Like, they've drawn through a quarter of their deck and drawn almost half the lands. There we go. That's what I was waiting on. Sky Fisher, bounce the Prophetic Prism, Glinthawk. I'm going to not tap out. My opponent may think that it is because I'm holding up mana for Circle of Protection Green, but it's actually because I'm holding up mana for Ancient Grudge. I can afford to take... I mean, my opponent can't even attack me properly. Riverboa is okay, and we'll probably get Journey to Nowhere. Opponent has 8 forests in play. Alright, continuing on. Battle Screech, good card. I will let my opponent get in one attack with the Riverboa. I don't actually care about the Riverboa, really. It doesn't actually do anything. Alright, so Boros Garrison drew me a card, and I get to attack in the air for 6, or 4, rather. Birds aren't attacking yet. I think this game is basically unlosable at this point. My opponent didn't have to play out all the cards. They could hold a few lands in their hand, make me think that they're holding a bunch of pump spells that as soon as they draw a gut shot, they're alive. But for some reason they thought they might want to have 11 mana. Like, I'm just okay with taking damage, and my opponent doesn't even attack. I have no rush. I can just do nothing. Cycle this. I can consider playing Journey to Nowhere, but because the Riverboa is green, and I have protection from it, and then because my opponent only has 1 card in hand, I can't play around very much. I'm not going to play around. My opponent's only going to draw 1 card a turn. I'm not going to play around like Sentinel Woodreaders or something like that. So, because my opponent can only play 1 card in a turn, and they can only have 2 cards next turn, the worst case scenario is that they draw Gut Shot plus Gleeful Sabotage. That's the worst thing that could possibly happen, and in that scenario, I still don't take any damage from the Riverboa. I'm going to use the Garrison to bounce the Radiant Fountain. None of my other lands matter, so I might as well just gain 2 life. And then I have 6 damage in the air. So I kill my opponent in, well, yeah, There's basically nothing my opponent can have. Now Gut Shot is not an out anymore. It doesn't actually accomplish anything. Longbow doesn't accomplish anything. Yeah, this is game. And so, now I've said this from the Stompy side of the matchup, and I'm going to say it again from this side. Games versus an aggro deck often look really lopsided, and they make you think that one deck is really favored when they're not. This game should not look like, oh yeah, I was in full control the whole time. I wasn't. My opponent could have made plays on turns 2 and 3 that I would have had trouble interacting with. There's a reason I play cards in my Stompy deck like Mutagenic Growth, because they interfere with things like these Galvanic Blasts. My opponent could have had a Hunger or Vines in the first 3 turns, and this game would have been very tough, even though I had the Standard Bearer, if they had drawn those cards. So it's not really fair to say that this matchup wasn't close. The games could have ended up like the first game, where my opponent draws well, their cards line up with mine well in the beginning, and then I get run over. And this matchup is in Boros' favor, but it is very slight. So, got my opponent there. I feel like I'm lucky because I went down game 1. Game 1 is, well, I guess my deck is not very configured to be Stompy in game 1. So I'm now 5-1. There are going to be 7 rounds. That looks pretty good for me. So I'll see you in round 7.